Okay, I have a Mini Cooper R50 model, first generation Mini Cooper, with a power window motor sticking, and it just needs to be cleaned. So what I've done is I've taken off the door panel. Pretty simple, 4 bolts to take that off. I did remove the speaker, so I had another place to stick my hand in to get access to the motor, because the motor is back in here. It's right up here. And you can see this little gray box right here. That's the outside housing for the motor. And I'm going to remove that. There's 4 Torx screws up here at the top that I'm going to remove to expose the motor. And it basically needs to be cleaned. So we'll try to show you what that looks like. It's a little bit of a surgical procedure. You got to work a little bit blind, but I found using a good Torx screwdriver, something simple like that, seems to be working the best. So we'll keep her going. I'll keep you informed. Alright, one thing I realized is if I loosen these through 3 screws, it gives me a little bit of movement in the back and allows me to access that panel, that motor, just a little bit easier. Okay, a couple things to note here is I have the screwdriver kind of at an angle. That motor sits in there kind of a little bit of an angle, so it's easier to get the Torx head on the motor itself. I was able to kind of stick my head in the door and help guide the screwdriver. That's hard to see where it's at, but kind of guide the screwdriver up onto that Torx. I'd use my both hands to kind of guide it in place. And you probably noticed a couple helpful tools is the light I put down in the bottom of the door jamb. I actually got a couple of them in there. I do have a magnetic retriever too, because it's pretty much almost guaranteed to drop at least one of those screws down into the door, so it's easier to get it with a little magnetic retriever. Alright, I'm going to put this inside the door here so you can kind of see. I've got the cover off of the motor now. I took 4 of those screws, and then this little guy right here, this is your motor, and it's going to turn a little bit, and you'll find it turns easy one way and the other way it doesn't turn so easy. So I'm going to actually unscrew it from the mount. Now this little plastic piece, that white and blue thing that you see up there, that's actually part of the motor housing as well, which I think you'll see it a little bit better once I remove that. Putting it back in is always going to be a little bit of a trick, but that's what I'm going to work on now, is taking this out, and I'll show you what that looks like once I get it out. Alright, I got it out, so you can see that top piece right here, kind of hard for me to see, but right below the blue housing there. Okay, you can see now that I got that motor off there, that housing off there. You can see here how that's all dirty. Well, that's what I'm going to clean so we can get this motor to work again. Okay, you can see how I got that nice and clean now, all the way around. What I used is some WD-40 contact cleaner, and then I'm going to actually take and put a little of this lithium grease as well. I'm going to spray that back on that worm so it's well lubricated. So what I ended up doing is getting that one back in place, put a little zip tie on it so I can fit it over the housing again for the copper. So now I got to fit over that copper. We'll see if we can get her back in place. A little bit of a trick here, because you don't want to let this separate again, so we don't want it to come over the top until we get that fully back in place. So we'll go for it now and see what happens. Okay, I have it back in on the motor back in and the housing back over the top. So what I did here, I found this to be helpful, getting that back into that little holes in the back to help guide it in. I actually taped the screw onto the screwdriver, so I just went right over the top, just kind of put a little hole in it, just to kind of temporarily hold it in place. And once I get it started, I'll go ahead and rip it off there, and that'll help me get the screw started. Alright, so we're putting the motor back in. You can see the bottom of the motor housing right off this mirror. I got a little mirror in here. And I'm having a heck of a time trying to get this last one in back up here in the corner. So a little patient, a little persistence, we'll get her. I got her started now anyway, so now I just got to get in there and get it tightened up. But okay, there's a little housing in the back there, this little wiring right back here. You gotta make sure you get that plugged in. So I got everything tightened back up. Okay, for the test, look at there, got her going. That's what we were looking for. Working window. Okay, getting ready to put it back together. One little trick or tip I've been using when I've been taking door panels and stuff off is I'll take a little WD-40 and put it on a rig and just wipe down each one of these little pegs, just so that when you're putting the door trim back on, it doesn't have as much friction, so it seems to snap in a little bit better. Okay, to remove the door, I took the panel off the door handle. I'm not 100% sure how to do that, but I guess I have. There's 4 screws, 1, 2, over here, 3, and then one behind this reflector panel. You just pop that little reflector panel off.